We just saw David De Gea cost his team 3 huge points against West Ham with a horrendous blunder, which put a huge question mark on Man United's hopes of returning to the Champions League in the 2023-24 season. But I promise you, that's not the worst goalkeeping mistake we've ever seen in football. It's not even close. You know what? Come with me as I count down the top 5 worst goalkeeping errors in football history. Before we start, make sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Number 5. Edouard Mendy vs Real Madrid. When he was first signed, Mendy looked like he was the ultimate solution to Chelsea's goalkeeping problems at the time. But the Senegalese soon morphed into an even bigger problem himself. There are actually many howlers from Mendy to pick from, and the one against Leeds, which led to a goal, is a personal favourite. I mean, what the hell was he even thinking there? But then, he made another bad mistake on a much bigger stage, so that just had to be my pick. It was the quarter-final of the Champions League, and Chelsea, who were defending champions, were looking to see off an opponent that they had beaten on their way to the trophy the previous year. But Mendy had other ideas. Chelsea had managed to get one back after previously going down to a quick-fire double by Benzema in the first half. In the second half, the Blues came out pressing and actually seemed the more likely to get the next goal in the opening minute. Because of the pressure they were under in their own half, a Madrid player hit the ball long and high into the other half. Everybody watching expected Mendy to handle that easily, and he did at first. He controlled the ball easily, but in the very next second, he played the ball directly into the path of Benzema, almost like he was trying to give the Real Madrid man an assist. And of course, Benzema was not going to pass up on an opportunity like that. He scored, and ended the game right there, 3-1. That very mistake would end up being even more costly, because although Chelsea were able to beat Madrid in the return leg at the Bernabeu, it ended up not being enough to help them advance. I'm sure that had the Blues thinking, if only Mendy didn't make that mistake in the first leg. Number 4. Rene Higuita vs Colombia. If you have watched enough goalkeeping comps, then you are surely familiar with this face. The now retired Colombian goalie was known for his eccentricities on the pitch, and he became wildly famous for one particular moment, when he pulled off the insane scorpion kick save in a match against England in 1995. But 5 years before that, he had a really infamous and embarrassing moment, and on the biggest stage of all no less. It was the World Cup, and El Loco, as he was fondly called, was manning the sticks for Colombia in a game against Cameroon in the round of 16. And here, we see one of the reasons he is called El Loco, which translates to the madman in English. Higuita was so high up the pitch, you could have missed missing from there. Mila converted, and that goal was enough to knock Colombia out of the tournament. The madman indeed. Number 3. Alisson vs Wolves. He might be one of the best goalkeepers in Europe, but even he is not above mistakes. He has surely made quite a few in his career, and I personally think the worst one is the one which led to a goal against Wolves in the FA Cup third round. Thiago had lost the ball just in front of the Liverpool box, but he managed to track back and win it back pretty contentiously. The Wolves players thought it was a foul and were trying to convince the referee to give them a free kick, but they weren't getting any favours from the ref, so Alisson decided to do them an even better favour. After retrieving the ball from Thiago's tackle, the Brazilian goalie passed it straight to the Wolves striker. Not into space, not in the blind spot of his player, he literally just passed it into Hwang, who scored and equalised for Wolves. If not for a dubious VAR call later in the game, Liverpool would have been knocked out of the FA Cup, no thanks to Alisson's blunder. Number 2. David De Gea vs Portugal. David De Gea is one guy who has a pretty healthy catalogue of goalkeeping errors to pick from. We could really just spin the wheel, and any De Gea error it lands on would be one worthy of this list. And that might just be what I did to arrive at this entry. You just would never know. Anyway, I'm sure you're all too familiar with this particular error. It came in the first game of the 2018 World Cup. It was a huge clash between Spain and Portugal. Cristiano Ronaldo and his teammates thought they would have to labour to get a result against the 2010 world champions, but De Gea decided to make things a lot easier for them. The game started out pretty badly for Spain. They conceded a very early penalty and, of course, Ronaldo converted. But Diego Costa turned up with one of the goals of the tournament to bring things level in the 24th minute. Spain thought they would go into the break with a draw at least, but De Gea said, "Not on my watch." Ronaldo hit a rather hopeful shot with his left foot from the outside box, and De Gea managed to make a mess of what should have been a routine save. The Man United man somehow let the ball bounce off his palms and roll into the net. What a guy. Okay, you know what? I decided to spin the De Gea blunder wheel one more time, and it happened to land on the error the Man United number 1 made against Lionel Messi in the quarter-final of the Champions League in 2019. That was another pretty interesting one, I won't lie. Imagine having memorable errors leading to goals against the two football GOATs. Only one man, David De Gea. Number 1. Loris Karius vs Real Madrid. From the beginning of this video, I'm sure you guys knew who was going to occupy the number 1 spot. It just had to be him. Loris Karius really gave us a 2-in-1 package on the biggest stage in club football. Trust me, it really doesn't get more horrendous than this. The first one came in the 55th minute, when the game was still locked at 0-0. He threw the ball directly into Benzema's path, and the striker needed just one touch to give Madrid the lead. But Liverpool quickly shook it off, and Maine went on to equalise just 4 minutes later. If that was where it ended, I'm sure Liverpool fans would have found it much easier to forgive him. But Karius made sure to deliver another howler before the end of the game. Bale, who had come on in the second half, hit a strike from way out, and you would have expected the keeper to just parry the ball out to safety. But he instead decided to parry the ball into his own goal to pretty much hand the Champions League trophy to Real Madrid. After that game, Karius was in tears as he walked around the stadium, apologising to the Liverpool fans who stayed back. He knew that his errors cost the club the match and the trophy. And even though the doctors explained that he suffered a concussion in the final, which could have been the cause of his awful performance, Karius did not play a single game for Liverpool again after that match. Now that you've heard my picks, tell me yours in the comments. What is the worst goalkeeping mistake in football history in your books?